Oh, the bloody Glazers, the bloody Glazers, the bloody Glazer family. Hello and welcome. There's a freaking hair. There we go. Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news update show. And we're going to be talking about some vermin, some ratty people with the worst hairstyle in the planet. And I'm being serious. There's 7+ billion people on this planet, and I still have not met anyone with a worse hairstyle than Abraham Glazer. And he's got all the money, the 11 million out dividends. And we're talking about the Glazers today. The Glazers are out protest. The Glazers' response to the protest, which I just think is unforgivable. I just think, the way they've responded to the protest is they've been doing everything they can to distract us. And we're going to get into the unforgivable things they're doing, like banning banners, banning anti-Glazers, telling apparently Sky not to cover the protest. We're going to talk about all the things the Glazers are doing that I think is just unbelievable in terms of really just trying to monitor the freedom of speech at the club. But then we'll also talk about the kind of stuff they're doing to distract us. We've also got news about Dest United, potentially the young truth being exposed. Is it murder incompetence, or was there more to the De Jong story? Why did that deal not happen? Could it happen tomorrow? Transfer deadline day is tomorrow. We've got a little bit of news ahead of the Leicester game, but we will speak about that more tomorrow and more. So make sure you smash that like button, guys. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Share the video and all of that. Avram looks like a rotten potato as well. I mean, smash that like button if you are Glazers out. We'll get lots of Glazers out in the chat as well. Alice, just check out the United Muppeteers release about the failed Thiago transfer and Glazer involvement. I'm sure that will shock you. I will check that out after, but nothing will shock me with the Glazers. I don't think they can get any worse. We will talk Osimhen and Ronaldo in a second. We will talk Wan-Bissaka on the way out potentially to West Ham. West Ham have had a very good transfer window. I mean, West Ham, Paqueta, obviously Scamacca, but West Ham have had a very good transfer window. I would expect them to be top 6, top 7. I think they've had a better transfer window than us, and I think West Ham are a very good club. So pressure could finally be on Moisey as well. But let's get right into it. So obviously there is a protest for the Arsenal game. If you are going to the game, or if you're around the area or you want to go, here are the details for the Arsenal game. It's a different type of protest. Now, this is the details from the 1958. And what I will do is I'm going to put my screen a bit smaller, and hopefully you can see that. But I do apologise if you can't read that very well. I mean, I can barely read it. It says, rallying call from the 1958. Arsenal, Sunday the 4th of September. We bring the heart and noise outside the ground and take it inside. This week has been a total embarrassment for the club, and the owners doing what they can to censor the fan base. Now listen to this. Listen to what they've said, guys, because this is an absolute disgrace by the Glazers. They say, I can barely read this. Why is Twitter making it so small? I do apologise. The Glazers have requested Sky to limit protest coverage, requesting Sky Sports to not be giving coverage to the protest. Do not be talking Glazers out, because they know this is a sign, guys, that the protests are working. So they've requested Sky to limit the protest coverage. They're using canned United chants for the Casemiro reveal video to cover the fans' feelings. When Casemiro's revealed, all the fans were chanting in the stadium, "We want Glazers out, say we want Glazers out." And they edited the audio to be United, United, United. Embarrassing. The Glazers also pressured social media outlets to question and dampen hashtag campaigns. A lot of media outlets have been going, why are they doing anti-Glazer stuff? That is the Glazers. And the biggest embarrassment for the club was removing Glazers out fans from the flags and the stadium before kickoff. This included the disabled fans section. Disgusting. This is what the Glazers have been doing. I don't know if you can see that on your screen very well, but removing anti-Glazer flags, censoring us, censorship. This is, they're actually trying to censor us. They're telling Sky Sports, do not cover the protest, do not give the protest attention. The Glazers are telling the media, do not give the protest attention. The Glazers taking out Glazers out banners. The Glazers, we made our feelings clear in the stadium and getting the social media team to edit that out of the video. And I'm telling you this now for 100% fact. This is a massive sign that the protests are working. This is a massive, massive, massive sign that the protests are working. The fact that they responded like this, the fact that they are getting rid of banners, censoring us out, telling the media to stop covering it, This is the biggest boost that the protest is working. We need to continue this for every single home game, because I've just seen a video of the new Real Madrid stadium, and then I compare it to the manky shite we've got at Old Trafford at the moment. It's absolutely embarrassing. The Glazers cannot outrun any football fan. Simple as that. Take Bartholomew for an example. In the end, football fans will win. Exactly. If we continue this, there's a chance they will go, because they're censoring the fans. They're telling Sky not to give attention to the protest. And someone made a really good point the other day. They said that England, it cost us money, these Glazer out protests. The government officials in England have to put a lot of police funding into the protests. If there is a protest for every game week at Old Trafford, if there is a protest for every home game at Old Trafford, more police have to come out, more precious British resources have to come out, and more of the government's money has to be spent. And then you'll get the people higher up, like the British government, putting pressure on the Glazers. And that is probably one of the best ways we can get them out, those higher up. I mean, taking banners off disabled people was shocking. I mean, they just have no morals. They tried to ruin football with the Super League. The Super League would have 100% ruined football. They would have lost loads of jobs. It would have ruined loads of livelihoods. They didn't care, because it was their economic game. They tried to do the Super League to ruin football. They're taking off banners from the fans. They're removing our freedom of speech, and they're using media to twist things. It was also said the club cannot stop fans taking protest flags and banners into the club as long as they meet the certain requirement details below. The 1958 that said we have the right to protest, we have the right to make feelings known, we have the right to show the world what we want as an ownership change. And he said that flags can be 2 meters times 1 meter inside without a fire certificate. Homemade flags, banners, bed sheets, pillowcases within the size limit are permitted all around the ground. So in the run-up to the game, please send a picture of your flags, banners, bed sheets and pillowcases, and we will share on our accounts and website. So they're telling us, the Glazers are trying to stop us bringing in anti-Glazer banners, anti-Glazer flags. The Glazers are trying to stop it all, but you can bring in an anti-Glazer flag. They are just trying to censor us. And, this is the most important thing. The fact that the Glazers are stopping banners coming into the stadium, the fact that the Glazers are censoring charts, and the fact that the Glazers are contacting the media to tell them not to cover the protest shows that we have rattled the Glazers, shows that it's having an impact. And that is the main positive. And obviously, there is a protest this week, but it's just 100% proof that it's having an impact. And it's more and more, this is more and more reason to keep going with the Glazers out protest, more and more reason to continue, because it's absolutely having an impact as well. But why would they put out a promotional video with Glazed out chants? It is true, and it is logical why it's been edited, but it's the banners that they've been taken down, which I think is the worst. And Yash says they are parasites as well. And honestly, it's time to get the Glazers out. And I will say this as well, the Glazers contacting Sky Sports saying, please, can you limit the coverage on the protest? The Glazers contacting media outlets saying, can you not cover the Glazers out protest? Can you not give the Glazers out movement attention? The Glazers are using media to try and shut us up. The Glazers are getting media outlets to question why we're doing the protest. The Glazers are working overtime with their PR to censor the media. The Glazers are editing videos, removing banners from the stadium to censor the fans. And they wouldn't be doing it if they weren't bothered. And you've got to remember this. Only 2 weeks ago, they were not going to sign Antony. They were not going to sign Casemiro. We were going to get Rabiot and Arnautovic 2 weeks ago. What happened 2 weeks ago? We lost 4-0 to Brentford. The Glazers out protest was ramping up, and Jim Ratcliffe said he wanted to buy the club. And all of a sudden, the Glazers have gone and spent 150 million since then. They were happy to throw Tenargo under the bus and sign Arnautovic and sign Rabiot. Glazers out protest. Jim Ratcliffe goes public about buying. All of a sudden, the funds that we've had all summer have just appeared. So you're telling me we wasted most of the summer for all of a sudden to find out we had the funds there right away, but you were willing to throw a new manager under the bus, a new manager they were willing to throw under the bus, which proves the Glazers have not changed, proves they have not changed, despite all this bullshit of them changing. I mean, they were saying earlier in the window, we're not going to be held to ransom this window, we're not going to overpay for anyone. What have they done? Spent 200 million on 4 players that are worth 100 million. I like all the players, but again, we've massively overspent. But the Glazers are exposing themselves as liars. 100% lies. We're going to back 10 August, a new manager. It's different. The only reason they are spending a bit of money now is because of the Glazer out protest. The only reason we got Casemiro and Antony is because Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy the club, and there was a lot of attention, a lot of heat on them. So what did they do? Let's sign a player Let's sign Casemiro. Let's, sign Antony. So when we announce the De Jong failure, hopefully the fans won't protest about it, even though us not getting De Jong is one of the biggest embarrassments in this club history. But if we can shut them up with Antony and Casemiro, there won't be much outrage when we don't get De Jong, despite us spending 14 weeks on De Jong, 15 weeks actually, and despite us losing out on Antony for 44 million, fake because we were going for De Jong, not getting De Jong, then going back and signing Antony for 84 million. Board incompetence. No. Let's get Casemiro and Antony to distract it. Let's spend a load of money to take them away from the Glazers out movement. Just 2 weeks ago, now you could have an Arnautovic and Rabiot and fuck off, they were going to say to Ten Hag, throw them under the bus. And I tell you this now, calms down next summer, we won't be spending any money. We've already been told Antony's coming out of next summer's transfer budget. So this is the worst part. Antony coming out of next summer's transfer budget. The protests are working. And do you know what the worst part for me, actually? One of the worst parts for me is how the Glazers are using media to spin the narrative and spin the attention away as well. You've got to remember, when the pressure was on the Glazers, all of the club's journalists, and you know when it's a PR spin, because there are certain journalists that are directly briefed by Manchester United and directly briefed by the club. And the week where the Glazers out protest was heating up, the week where everything was massively heating up and going on and on and on and on and massive, what was happening, guys? What was happening? I'll tell you what was happening. There was all these stories about Ronaldo coming out. There were all these stories coming out about Ronaldo this, Ronaldo that, blah, 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 blah. Ronaldo's a problem. If we sell Ronaldo, all the dressing issues will be fixed. Remember that. Only 2 weeks ago, they were trying to shift the blame onto Ronaldo. So not only are they trying to censor the media, not only are the Glazers going out there trying to get the media to stop covering the anti-Glazer protest, not only are they contacting Sky Sports saying, can you not cover the protest? Not only are the Glazers saying, can you not focus on the anti-Glazer movement to the media? But then the Glazers are using the media to spread this false narrative that Cristiano Ronaldo is some kind of evil villain and Cristiano Ronaldo is all the problem at this club, because they are trying to distract fans and get certain fans to turn on the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, a player that's won it all and wants United to be great again and only wants to leave Manchester United because of the lack of ambition at the club. They're trying to get the fans to turn on Cristiano Ronaldo, and then they did all these PR spin reports that United were going to sign 5 players. Remember, we lost 4-0 to Brentford. We were signing 5 players. It was all Ronaldo's fault. We were signing Casemiro. We were signing Antony. It was all Ronaldo's fault. Ten Hag was going to be back to distract them from the Glazers out movement. I'm telling you this now for a fact. The fact that we haven't got De Jong is an absolute disgrace and is a sackable offence. The fact that we haven't got De Jong it means the board should be sacked 100%. The fact that they are taking banners off disabled fans and fans in general and removing anti-Glazer banners from Old Trafford is just inhumane. Well, not inhumane, that's probably a big word for it, but just the lack, they're reducing our freedom of speech as well. But and also, have you seen the Real Madrid stadium? I think Gary Neville tweeted it. Let me try and find it on Twitter, but our stadium is manky. Our stadium right now is manky. Our stadium looks like, honest, you think we were a Povo club. You would think we were the Povo club. We are the 3rd biggest club in the world. The 3rd biggest club in the world. And look at Real Madrid stadium and look at ours. Let me get this. This is, not only have they neglected everything on the pitch, but look at off the pitch. This is Real Madrid's lovely new stadium, and this is United Stadium. Manchester United. And there was even a video came out 2 weeks ago of what Man City had done to their stadium. We are behind in every aspect of the game. A lot of people don't realise this. We are behind in every aspect of the game. We're the only club, Manchester United, the only club in the whole of the Premier League without a screen in the stadium. Man United, the only club in the whole of the Premier League. Even Bournemouth have one. Fucking Bournemouth that are tiny and lost 9-0 to Liverpool. We lost 9-0 to Liverpool in aggregate, not in one game. Bournemouth have a screen in their stadium. Bournemouth have a more modern stadium than Manchester United. Look at Real Madrid stadium. Look at our stadium. It's a mess. So not only have we got a stadium that's a mess and leaking, we've got leaks within the club, we've got problems in the club, and we are the only club in the Premier League without a screen in the stadium. Old Trafford is a mess. The facilities is so behind Liverpool, City, and everyone else in the Premier League. It's not like we're just behind Liverpool and City. We're miles behind Liverpool and City on the pitch. We're miles behind Liverpool and City off the pitch. But off the pitch, Brighton are doing more than United. Man United, the biggest club in England, off the pitch are behind Brighton, they're behind Southampton, they're behind Bournemouth, they're behind Crystal Palace. We generally have probably the worst scouting in the Premier League, the worst facilities in the Premier League, and the worst looked after stadium in the Premier League. We have the worst owners in the Premier League, and we are probably the worst run club in the Premier League, but we are the biggest club in the Premier League. And it is absolutely embarrassing. And as I was talking about earlier, you know, not only where we are on the pitch reflects the Glazer ownership, but everything wrong off the pitch. And as I was talking about, the Glazers removing banners from Old Trafford and the anti-Glazers, sorry, you know, the Glazers taking anti-Glazer banners off disabled fans. Well, the Glazers don't actually take them, but the Glazers are telling the people that work for United to take them. The Glazers are milking our club as well. And unfortunately, some fans are basically falling for the spends and claiming that Ronaldo's the problem. The Glazers, and I'm telling you this again, they will use the media to make out that Cristiano Ronaldo is the biggest problem at United, and they will use the media to try and tell everyone we're going to spend a load of money to distract us from the Glazers out movement as well. The Glazers are like a fat rat. Old Trafford is run by a rat, and I think the rats would be offended being compared to Glazers as well. Newcastle have hired the Spurs architect. Look at Spurs Stadium. Look at Real Madrid's new stadium, and then you've got manky Old Trafford. You know, this is the biggest club in England. Honestly, we're in a few years. You know, like the Luton Town Stadium was going viral for being a shithole. You know, will be Old Trafford now. Old Trafford's going to be the next Luton Town Stadium because all the other teams are going to upgrade their stadium, and you know we might as well be Luton bloody Town. I mean, it is just embarrassing. And do you know what I saw actually? Do you know what I tweeted? I tweeted this earlier. I also saw this thing, and basically the highest net spend in football in the last decade has been Manchester United. And people use this as a why are we Glazers out? They spend money. And the thing that irritates me is how naive people are. Why are you Glazers out? They spend money. Why am I Glazers out? Look at the money we spent. Look at our squad compared to everyone else's. Proof that the people in the board should no longer be in the board and they don't have proper people in the board. Look at our stadium. Look at our facilities. Look at the club. Look at our scouts. Look who we've just hired, Michael Keane's brother. No, we could have got Michael Edwards in of Liverpool, very successful, crucial in Klopp's rebuild to make Liverpool great again. No, let's get Michael fucking Keane's brother in. That is Manchester United. And people will say, oh, the Glazers spend money. The Glazers spend... They don't. They don't. If you have a brain, you know that they've milked nearly 2 billion out of this club. Before the Glazers came in, this club didn't have debt. The Glazers brought this club with 0p and put all the debt in this club, and then they used this club to take out 20, 30 million pounds a year in dividends. 1.8 billion has been stolen from Manchester United by the Glazers, and not 1 penny has been invested in. You see, Man City, 985 million net spend. About half of that has been from their owners. Our 1.1 billion net spend, not 1p, not 1 fucking p has been spent by our owners. In fact, they've taken more money out than we've spent in the last decade, the Glazers. And it really irritates me when people go, oh, they spend money. They don't. They take it out of the club. And I obviously, you can't see actually what's on my screen. Let me get it up. I do apologise. You can't see what's on my screen, but they don't. People think, oh, the Glazers spend money. They don't. It's a myth. And I'll say this, and I'll say it again, and I tweeted this. If the Glazers were good businessmen, if the Glazers had a brain, they'd actually employ footballing people. The reason we spend more money than anyone else, yet we don't have the best squad in the world, is because the money we spent is not spent efficiently. Because instead of hiring proper footballing people in the club, that goes against what the Glazers want. The Glazers don't want people with football brains to work at United because they will question their ownership. If you get people who know football and they're going to question their ownership, like Ralph Rangnick, the Glazers do not want anyone that's going to question their ownership and authority of the club and tell them to do things differently. That's unacceptable for the Glazers. So your Ralph Rangnicks, your Paul Mitchells, your Michael Edwards that could all come in and run Manchester United and run the board and probably spend 200 million on 6 or 7 great transfers and get this club back where it needs to be is not acceptable, because the Glazers do not want to give freedom to someone that would question their ownership. The Glazers just hire bankers. The people that do the transfers at Manchester United, the people that do the work at Manchester United, don't actually know football. You know, Richard Arnold's a scouser that likes rugby. John Murtagh doesn't really watch football and doesn't give a fuck. Ed Woodward was a banker with no interest in football. When the people choosing who we buy and the money we spend on transfers don't actually follow football actively and are only in the job for the money and because they're bankers and because they were friends of Ed Woodward's and because they were friends of the Glazers and they're in the Glazers circle, that is why this club will spend 1.1 billion in net spend but be miles off Man City and Liverpool. And the funny thing is, the Glazers do not the Glazers, if the Glazers had got a Paul Mitchell in, a Ralph Rangnick in, you know, a Michael Edwards in, the guy that was at Brighton that's just gone to Newcastle who was very good, to all do the transfer work, I think we probably would have had a net spend of about 500 million instead of 1.1 billion in the last decade and probably had a much better squad. The Glazers could have saved 500 million in the last decade and probably ended up with a squad better than what we have now if they didn't get bankers to do the work and instead got proper people in. But they don't think like that. They don't think like that at all as well. Absolutely milking our club as well. We've got the worst CEO. We've got the worst sporting director. We've sacked our scouts. We've got Michael Keane's brother dealing with the business side of transfers as well. We've got one of the worst grounds in the stadium. It's one of the most historic grounds with the biggest team in the world, and our stadium is a shithole. It's not been looked after. It's not been maintained. And you look at what Real Madrid are doing, Man City doing. You look that we're the owner club without a board up in the stadium. It's legally they're allowed to remove the banners on the grounds. Hate speech. Any lawyers after this? I don't know, but I don't think it's morally right to be removing banners because it is freedom of speech as well. But yeah, and all home fans must protest at Old Trafford. Protest for the Arsenal game. Remember that. Yash says we have the biggest fan base in the world, even more than Real Madrid, Barca, Bayern Munich, and we make millions and millions every year with all the support. Yet we have a crap stadium. You know, you're absolutely spot on. And the Glazers are full of crap. They're not letting Ronaldo go because of commercial gain. Yeah, I spoke about this in my video earlier. It came out that basically Ten Hag had given the green light for Ronaldo to leave. Ten Hag had accepted that Ronaldo didn't want to be here and wants Ronaldo to leave. You can see with Ronaldo not starting, he's obviously not in Ten Hag's plans. He's playing Rashford, who's not a striker, over Ronaldo at striker. He's also playing Martial. Ten Hag said, look, I want Ronaldo to go. And Joel Glazer said, no, Ronaldo's a commercial asset. You can't sell him. So not only were they willing to throw Ten Hag under the bus and bring in Arnautovic and Rabiot instead of De Jong and Antony, they only brought in Antony because obviously the Glazers out protest. But the board said to Ten Hag, who said, I don't want Ronaldo, said, well, you can't sell Ronaldo because he's a commercial asset. Joel Glazer, again, has a new manager. And instead of doing what all the big clubs would do and just fully back a new manager, give the new manager what he wants, buy who he wants, sell who he wants, no. Mr. Joel Glazer goes, you know what? You know what, Ten Hag? You can't sell Ronaldo. You could sell James Garner instead. That's what's going on at Manchester United. They can't sell Ronaldo because he's a commercial asset who Ten Hag doesn't want now. But you can sell James Garner. In fact, you have to sell James Garner. Ten Hag goes, oh, but I want James Garner within the midfield. No, if you want to sell someone, you've got to sell James Garner to fund that Antony transfer. Nah, Ronaldo's going to bring in a lot of money for us. Sorry. As Saeed says, the fourth richest club in the world, the most successful club in the world, but these Glazers have destroyed everything and made this club a shithouse. Grace content, mate. Thank you very much, Saeed, for the chat, and you're absolutely spot on. We need to keep the pressure on the Glazers. Old Trafford is not a modern stadium. It's about time the Glazers rebuild it. The Glazers are feeling the pressure. The fact that the Glazers are censoring us and approaching Sky and telling them not to give coverage to the protest shows that it's definitely affecting them as well. 1 billion plus spent badly, especially with Dumb and Dumber in charge. I didn't think we could get worse than Woodward and Judge, but Arnold and Murtagh seem to be just as awful as Woodward and Judge as well. I mean, it's just absolutely embarrassing. Also, no proper wage structure for the players. This making them unsellable. I know we can't even sell players. I mean, Wolves are getting 40 million for Morgan Gibbs-White. Zinchenko barely played for Man City. He was a backup left back, and they got 30 million for him. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Antony is almost official. We will be talking about Dest and Antony later in the show. And those current Glazers are the original Glazer sons. They were given Man United Football Club on a silver platter. They've never learned, they don't know the value of money. They've been given it on a silver platter. They've been given money on a silver platter, and they're just selfish. And I go back to the Super League, and people seem to forget about the Super League, but the Super League would have had absolutely catastrophic effects on this country in England, because effectively the Super League would bankrupt the Premier League, and the Super League would bankrupt football for every team that wasn't in the Super League. Because basically the Premier League, 90% of the money the Premier League makes comes from your Man United, your Liverpools and Arsenals. That's where 90% of the income from the Premier League comes from. You know, the Premier League would have no money if it wasn't for Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. We are the three clubs that make it up. Spurs contribute, Chelsea contribute, Man City contribute. We are the six clubs that fully, contribute to the Premier League. So if those 6 clubs went and formed the Super League with the big clubs around Europe, the Premier League would effectively go bankrupt. And teams like Southampton, Brighton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, all these big teams would just kind of cease into existence, because all of a sudden the money lost, because if the Premier League lost those big 6 teams, and all the clubs in the Premier League would lose so much money that they would all go bankrupt. You would see your West Hams go into administration, your Wolves go into administration. You'd see millions of jobs lost. The economy of this country be affected by it as a whole, because those football clubs generate so much money. Livelihoods being affected and fans being devastated at their clubs. And the Glazers were willing to create that in this country. The Glazers were the ringleaders behind it. The Glazers didn't care that the Super League would have a catastrophic effect on England and millions of lives, and actually lose a lot of people's jobs and ruin a lot of people's lives, and it would completely change the landscape of football and affect people lower down, because it proved, and the Glazers being the ringleaders behind it, the other clubs just chose to join, but Joel Glazer was the man with the idea. He would have completely ruined football for people. And that paints a picture of how bad Joel Glazer is, how bad he is. You have someone that's going to buy United. You've been here 17 years. You've taken 1.5+ billion out of the club. You've upset the fans enough. Now there is a buy for Manchester United. Sergio wants to buy Man United. And they don't want to sell, because they don't care. They want their 30 million in dividends. Every year they'll milk out the club. And they're happy to sit there and let this club rot, because they'll sit back in Florida and they'll just get their PR team and their media team to write a load of stories saying Ronaldo's the spawn of Satan and all the issues at United, and they'll say they'll buy this player, but then when we win a game they'll say we're no longer buying this player, and they'll sit there in Florida in their mansion milking money out of the club, making lies in the media, bullshitting in the media, while they continue to take money out of the club while we suffer. And they will let Old Trafford burn to the ground. They will let it rot. They will go and employ Michael Keane's brother and people dumb and dumber, Murta and Arnold, to do work at Man United, because they are morons. And that is the biggest problem. They're absolute leeches. Spot on as well. Please do smash that like button, guys, by the way. And of course, subscribe down below to the channel if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe. Every like, sub, share on the channel really means a lot. I go live every single evening, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest, do subscribe. We're on 49,216 subscribers. We are 784, maths went. We're 784 subscribers away from 50k, and so please do subscribe if you're new. We've got 784 people watching as well, which is quite ironic as well. We want Glazers out. Say we want Glazers out. Smash that like button if your Glazers out as well. We will get into the Arsenal game. We will get into the Leicester game. We will get into Casemiro. We have got a lot to talk about as well. The FIFA ratings for the Man United players have come out. Joel Glazer's got the most punchable face. Glazers are a vile family as well. The love of money is the root of all evil. Very good quote. And the Glazers were the leaders of the Super League, the evil parasites. They are evil parasites. And cowardly behaviour by incompetent management with absolutely useless negotiation panel personnel. Sorry, get the parasite Glazers out of the club. You're absolutely spot on, Robbie. Chat of the day. That's absolutely spot on with that as well. And Sergio Ratcliffe is the best possible option for Manchester United. Glazers out. Protests must keep them together and unite the fans towards the same goal. Sir Ratcliffe in full control of our beloved team. That's what we want. We are going to cover Dest to United story in a second as well. I mean, honestly, and United's best 11 is Joel Glazer and a 10-man. Jesus. But I should always read chats before I put them up on the screen. And Alice, did you see the state of their dad, Malcolm Glazer? I mean, honestly, they're just... Honestly, the Glazers wanted to make the Super League as they would earn a lot of money and make the PL like League One or La Liga, where only 3 or 4 teams compete for trophies as other teams go bankrupt. Absolutely spot on. The Glazers is a bloody business money-minded, selfish American family who turned a beloved soccer club into a company for their own benefit. Glazers go. Absolutely spot on with some of these chats as well. Absolutely spot on. And Antony's already impressed in his medical, a real sign of best offer at Man United. Casemiro was also described as a warrior in the medical. I've got a couple of news stories to get into. I want to get into, obviously, Antony being official, what Antony's going to bring to Manchester United. But, and obviously there is news about Sergio Dest United. There is a bit of truth in the De Jong story starting to come out about more Murta and competence. I thought this was quite funny, but let me find the FIFA ratings. The Man United FIFA ratings did come out, so just in case you're interested, I thought we could cover this because, you know, I'm always interested in this. I don't know who cares. But these are the Manchester United FIFA 23 Ultimate Team ratings for next season. Ronaldo gets a -1 downgrade. De Gea gets a +3 upgrade, which is quite generous, but he was good last season. Fernandes with a -2 downgrade. Varane with a -2 downgrade. It's not his fault he was injured, but I understand. Sancho with a -3 downgrade. He was a bit underwhelming last season, but I believe Sancho can give that to himself. Eriksen at 82. Rashford with a fat -4 downgrade. Now, Rashford was god awful, but -4 is very harsh, but he was awful last season. Martinez is 81. Maguire with a -2 downgrade to 81. Wan-Bissaka with a fat -4 downgrade to 80. Lindelof is 80 rated. McTominay is 80 rated. Shaw's 80 rated. Martial's 80 rated. Fred got a downgrade. I would have actually put Fred at 82, 83. I wouldn't have downgraded Fred. I thought he was one of our better players last season. Donny and Malassi 79. Delo 78. I think Delo could be upgraded. Elanga 74, and then the rest are silvers. But I just thought, what are your thoughts on those ratings, guys? Because some people will be interested in that. So I think it's really interesting. I think the ratings are really interesting in that as well. McTominay 80. I understand why certain players have had those downgrades. Like, I think Martial is one of our better players, but I understand why he's an 80 because he hasn't been good as well. I think Fred should be higher than McTominay. For me. Malacia could be higher as well. You know, some of the ratings are high, some of the ratings are low. We need to thank the thousands of protesters. We do. Everyone, if you can, do protest because it's clearly having an impact on the Glazers. A lot of people don't realise this. It is clearly having an impact on the Glazers, the protest. The fact that they're removing anti-Glazer banners, the fact that Glazers are going to Sky and going, can you not give the Glazer Out protest much coverage, is 100% proof that Glazer Out protests are working. Strip Bear says 100 million for a £40 million player, and that is Glazer incompetence for getting someone like Murta in to do transfers. Ten Hag said to Murta, said to Arnold, said to United board in May, I want Antony. Man United went in for Antony in May. We know that. We've got Tier 1 journals confirm that. And Ajax quoted us 44 million for Antony in May. United then went, well, we're going to get De Jong first, then go back for Antony. They didn't even get De Jong. They go back in for Antony. Ajax don't want to sell now. They've lost too many players. 100 million. We lost 40 million because he's 84 million, but he would have been 44 million. We lost 40 million on Antony purely because of Glazer and Murta incompetence. You know, that is just the impact of having incompetent people running this club. That is why we lost. That is why we lost Antony, and that's facts. And the funny thing is, the Glazers employ people like Murta because they're bankers and they're friends at Woodward, and they're not going to question their decisions. But the Glazers, if you really wanted to get more money out of United, if you'd have kept Ragnick and if you'd have got proper football people in, we'd probably spend less money in bringing better players. You know, look at the money Brighton and Brentford have spent with the clubs, with the squad they have. If you brought in the person at City, the person at Brighton, the person at Brentford, you got in some proper scouts, some proper people on the board, the Glazers, you could make profit in transfers. You could be like a Dortmund or an Ajax. You know, if you brought in proper footballing people, Glazers, instead of bankers, you'd spend a lot less money with a better team. And then the fans, if we're winning games, there'll still be Glazers out, but there'll be less pressure on you. So Glazers, if you're listening, if you've got a brain, get rid of Arnold, get rid of Woodward, get proper footballing people in. If you want to be real businessmen, proper footballing people will scout the right players, get them for cheap, and they will build a squad by spending a lot less money. Because we spent 1.1 billion net spend in a decade, more than anyone else in the whole world of football. Do we have the best squad? No. But you gave 1.1 billion, and instead of giving 1.1 billion to spend to Woodward, Arnold, Murta, and Judge, give 1.1 billion to those who've done it at Brighton, at Brentford, Liverpool, Man City owners. And I tell you what you get for 1.1 billion, we'd be miles better than anyone else. Miles. But you, nah, Ed Woodward, I don't like football. I'm a banker. Oh, I've got 100 million. Maguire was good at the World Cup. Let's get Maguire 80 million. Cool. That was us. And it's absolutely embarrassing as well. But yeah, I don't think the guys are listening. They're not. Daniel Savage is saying Maguire should be 54 rated. Jeez. But look, Glazers out. I do want to get into the Sergio Dest news, guys. Do not worry. I just missed the super chat here. Big up Yash. One sec. I can't see. My computer's absolutely glitching. Big yes, Varane should be 86 plus. I do agree as well. And Maguire and Martinez both 81. Scott 80. Yeah, I think look, FIFA are always inaccurate with their ratings. FIFA are always just stupid with their ratings, aren't they? And you look at the other ones here, Fred, Donny, Malacia. I mean, that's just EA. I mean, EA are quite incompetent, like Manchester United. But back to the stadium, Old Trafford, guys, versus the Bernabeu. Like, I just look at that, and it is unbelievable. Like, just the state of our club as well. I've got a question. I'm going to do a poll for you guys. I've actually got a question for you guys about who should start up front, and I'm really intrigued to know who you're going to vote for. So I'm going to ask you who you play as striker. If you were Man United manager, who would you play at striker? Who starts up front? Would you play Martial? Would you play Ronaldo? Or would you play Rashford or someone else? Martial, Ronaldo. Who would you start up front? Rashford or Alanga? I don't know who else you really play up front. Let me know. I'm going to put a poll in there. Who would be your striker for Manchester United? Martial, Ronaldo, Rashford. And I've gone with Alanga, but, you know, whoever, really. I think for me, if fit, I think Martial is the best option because I think he would connect best with the likes of Antony, Censor and Rashford. But with Ronaldo, you guarantee goals. And for me, Rashford is a left winger. But let me know your thoughts. Make sure you vote in the poll. I'd be intrigued to see what you say as well. And my other question to you guys is, would you take Sergio Dest at Manchester United? Because we've got some reports on Sergio Dest to United that I do actually want to get into. Some really positive updates regarding Sergio Dest to United that I think you quite like. I mean, look, I don't know a lot about Sergio Dest, but if it's competition for Wan-Bissaka, it's competition for not Wan-Bissaka, for Delot. So reports come out from Sky Sports today, actually, and this came out just after the news about Dest to United, saying West Ham have been given encouragement from Manchester United that the club would do business with them for Wan-Bissaka. So only yesterday we were told that United aren't going to sign any more players. They don't have time to get a new right back, so Wan-Bissaka is going to stay put. Despite Wan-Bissaka having offers from West Ham and Palace, Wan-Bissaka is set to stay put. That was the report that came out yesterday. And then I think Wan-Bissaka was annoyed at it because Wan-Bissaka has been wanting to leave for a while, but because United are incompetent and won't be able to find a right-back replacement, Wan-Bissaka was going to stay, or we're going to be left with Williams as the backup right-back, which is quite risky and all of that. Now, it's reportedly come out that United are advancing in a pursuit for Sergio Dest, and the deal could be a lot more likely as well. Obviously, I don't know if we'll get Sergio Dest or not. We will find out tomorrow because it's deadline day. It could be a last-minute deal, especially the fact that Wan-Bissaka is now more likely to leave is coming out, means there's more in Sergio Dest as well. But I will get into the Sergio Dest news. I will get into what's been said because a lot of reports coming out in Spain saying Dest to United is quite likely as well. American here, Sergio is great. I mean, I don't really watch Sergio Dest, so I don't know what to say about Dest. Let me know what you think about him in the chat. Let me know if you think he's a good player or not. I mean, I know he's worked with Ten Hag at Ajax. I've seen him play a couple of times. I think he's an all right player, but I'm no expert. But it's come out from Gerard Romero today that keep an eye on Sergio Dest to Manchester United. Gerard Romero said today that Manchester United are very interested in signing Sergio Dest and could make an offer for him very soon. Jonathan Schrager also said if Aaron Wan-Bissaka leaves before the transfer window closes, there's a strong possibility that Manchester United could pursue a deal for Dest. Why am I saying Dest? Dest. Sorry. And then it also came out from Sky that Wan-Bissaka looking more likely to leave, and that now Man United are exploring the possibility of a late deal for Dest if Wan-Bissaka leaves, because obviously we do know Barcelona want to sell Dest. So the thing about Sergio Dest to United is he's worked with Ten Hag before. We do need a right back, and it's a very easy deal to do because Barcelona wants him gone. Barcelona would very much give him to us for quite cheap. They want him gone. So that is very true as well. And that West Ham are now getting encouragement about the pursuit for Wan-Bissaka. So I think Dest is purely on what happens with Wan-Bissaka. I think we'll know in the next 24 hours if Wan-Bissaka's leaving and if we're getting Dest in. Because I think we could sell Wan-Bissaka for 15, 20 million and get Dest for about 10 million and actually make a little bit of profit. Tomorrow is deadline day, and tomorrow is going to be really interesting because is James Garner going to stay or go? I think we should let James Garner go on loan. I think he needs a loan. You've got James Garner, deadline day tomorrow. You've got Wan-Bissaka, Sergio, Dest, deadline day tomorrow. You've got the De Jong saga, that will be finalised tomorrow. You've got, the rumours of Depay to United, Osimhen to United, Ronaldo's future will be sold tomorrow. A lot of people are saying, deadline day is not going to be excited. Bradford, Antony are our last signings. I think deadline day is going to be really interesting tomorrow, because deadline day, we finally find out what happens to De Jong, what happens to Ronaldo. Are we going to get Dest? Are we going to get Osimhen? Are we going to get Depay? Deadline day, we're going to figure out how it ends. And I think deadline day will be interesting as well. Dest is good attacking, but a bit suspect when it comes to defensive abilities. Now, I watched a video on Antony, and they spoke about, and it was an analysation of Antony, and they spoke about how attacking fullbacks bring the best out of Antony. And I do think it's no coincidence that as soon as we've got Antony, we're now looking at Dest. And as you're saying, Dest is an attacking fullback. Wan-Bissaka isn't. Wan-Bissaka and Antony wouldn't work. Dest and Antony, but when it comes, Dest and Antony could link up well. To get the best out of Antony, you need an overlapping attacking fullback. So I do think that, there's strong possibility in Dest to United, because I think if you want to bring out the best in Antony, you want an attacking fullback, and Wan-Bissaka doesn't bring that as well. 700 watching and only 300 likes. Ring the doorbell. Please do smash that like button, guys, and of course subscribe down below. Update on Frankie de Jong is the conclusion will be tomorrow. That's it. Someone said a 4-4-2 formation with Martial, Antony up front, switch with Ronaldo and Rashi. Interesting as well. Why should we sign a Barca reject? Well, he'd just be competition for Delo, because I do think that Delo is very much the first choice right back. Wan-Bissaka and Williams are the second choice right back, but Ten Hag likes attacking fullbacks, because obviously with Antony playing on the right hand side, he wants a fullback that is going to overlap as well. And yeah, keep smashing the like buttons, guys, as Gaz said, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Xavi doesn't want Dest, which makes the deal very easy. I think Dest to United is a very easy deal to do, because Xavi doesn't want him. I think it's really dependent on, if Wan-Bissaka leaves, we'll get Dest. If Wan-Bissaka stays, we won't get Dest. That is what the deal is dependent on. If Wan-Bissaka leaves or goes, I want to see what happens with James Garner tomorrow. I want to see what happens with Ronaldo tomorrow. We will only sign players this window if people leave. We've signed Dubravka, we signed Antony, we signed Casemiro, we signed Martinez, we signed Ericsson, and we signed Malacia. But we will only sign another player if A, Ronaldo leaves, then there's potential for Depay, potential for maybe even Gakpo, or potential maybe even for Osimhen and a loan to happen. We'll find out that tomorrow. Frankie de Jong, probably not going to happen, but we will find out the conclusion of Frankie de Jong tomorrow, who is in England. And what I think is interesting is that it's all wrapped up tomorrow. And I tweeted this, actually. So Gakpo is still set to be leaving PSV. Now, I don't think we'll get him. I think, we've called out interest in Gakpo since the whole situation with, us signing Antony for 100 million. But if you look here, this is what I tweeted. Last week, PSV quoted Gakpo at £38 million when Manchester United are interested. They've now told Southampton if they pay £25 million, they will get Gakpo. Now, what I will say about this is proof that having an incompetent board costs us. Teams know that United are incompetent, the board are idiots. So we would have to pay 15 million more for the same player as Southampton as well. Big up Yash, thank you for the super sticker. Really appreciate the support there, mate, as well. Thoughts on Scott Parker getting sacked? It's a disgrace. He beat Villa, he lost to Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea, was it? 3 points from 4 games is what you expect from Bournemouth when you look at the first 4 games they had was hard. He got them promoted. He gave them barely any money. I mean, I think Scott Parker being sacked is embarrassing for Bournemouth. I think it is a bit of a joke. And I think Bournemouth will regret that. I don't think they'll stay up. We all know they're going down. And I think Scott Parker got them up. They've not given him any money. He was obviously going to lose those games. Look at Southampton. They lost 9-0, but Ralph Hasenhüttl was a good manager. He's lost 9-0 twice. Did they sack him? No. Are they happy they didn't sack him? Yes. Southampton lost 9-0. So can you, Bournemouth. It's silly as well. But yeah. Dest is bad defensively, but Wan-Bissaka is good defensively. We don't need to sell Wan-Bissaka. I think he wants to go, and I think Ten Hag's not going to use him, so there's no point keeping a player that's not going to be used. I think that's the situation with Wan-Bissaka as well. Dest isn't great. Our fan base will slaughter him. Yeah, I can imagine that, but I think if Ten Hag wants him and knows him, and he might bring the best out of Antony. You never know. There's obviously links about Aubameyang to United as well, but I think he is going to be Chelsea bound. True or not, but apparently De Jong and Depay were both at United's office in London yesterday. There are reports that De Jong and Depay had a meeting with United yesterday, but unless Romano or Ornstein says it, I'm not particularly going to cover it. Van der Beek didn't have a wedding. That was all made up reports as well. Van der Beek didn't have a wedding, and honestly, I feel grim for Scott Parker. Yeah, Scott Parker should have never been sacked. We want Gakpo now. Things will be better. If Ronaldo goes, maybe we'll go for Gakpo. But I think it could be someone like Depay or Dest. And why I say I think we could get someone like Depay or Dest, depending. We won't sign anyone else unless someone leaves. And if someone does leave, I think it could be someone like Depay and Dest, purely because Barcelona are desperate to sell. And when you leave a deal this late, you need someone that wants to sell. Who doesn't want that player? They're desperate to sell. And Barcelona don't want Dest. They don't want Depay. They don't want any of their Dutchmen. They're anti-Dutch, it seems. So I think it puts us in a position where, yeah, it will be a lot easier. Guys, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe. I go live every single evening in the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, updates, transfer news and more. So please do subscribe. It will mean a lot to me as well. We've got lots of news to cover. We're just talking about the Dest situation as well. PFC may play United in Europa League. Dangerous there. Yeah, potentially, I guess. They're in Arsenal's group, but they could get us in the later stages as well. Alice, what number do you think Antony will wear? There's rumours about him getting number 11, which I don't know if we can do because Greenwood is still registered at the club. He could still come back, and I think that curses that shirt number I feel like is cursed after Giggs and Greenwood, so I kind of want to avoid that. But there are rumours he could be getting number 11, but I don't know if that is just rumours. I could see him getting something like 17 maybe. Or I don't know what shirt numbers. Bruno got 8. Who got 6? Did someone take shirt number 6? Was that Martinez? I don't know. I don't know what you take. Maybe like is 21 available? No. That was De Jong's. Maybe you'll get 21, or maybe you'll get De Jong's number because I don't think De Jong's coming. I've not got a clue. Fred's 17, isn't he? Maybe you'll get 11, or maybe he'll take something like Edgy. What number is Antony at Ajax? Is Antony 11 at Ajax? Antony Ajax number. I think I should know this. He is number 11 at Ajax. Maybe he will. I'm not sure. That depends on the Greenwood situation as well. Greenwood ain't registered for competitions and not at the club. So number 7, I guess because he's not registered, number 11 could be available. So maybe he will get number 11. I'm not sure how that will go down, but I don't think Greenwood's coming back anyway. So yeah, maybe he will. I think we will find out soon. So Antony's done. The club have actually announced Antony. So if we go over to Social Media FC. We go over to United, who, you know, they've obviously tweeted there's an agreement for Antony. I don't know if we find the shirt number out until he's got his visa sorted. So Antony can't train or play until he's got his visa sorted. So although Antony is done now, it's a big situation of, you know, is his visa sorted before he can play and train. Did they tweet any pictures? They didn't tweet. Do you know what's annoying? So they can't even put pictures out of Antony until he's got his work permit and stuff. But obviously, as you can see, you know, United have announced that Antony is done as well. 21 is reserved for De Jong as well. I heard that Arsenal interested in Gakpo. What do you think? Would be a really good signing for them. But PSV are playing Arsenal in the Europa League group, so they might avoid that, someone said as well. Osimhen, I'd love, but I really don't think it's going to happen. The only way Osimhen to United can happen is if Napoli decide to loan him. If Napoli want to do a loan swap deal, Ronaldo for Osimhen, the deal will happen. But if Napoli decide, no, we don't want to do that, it won't happen. And why would Napoli want to do a swap deal for Osimhen for Ronaldo when they get no money from it? Napoli was saying, yeah, Osimhen for Ronaldo, brilliant. But Man United, you've got to give us 130 million for Osimhen and Ronaldo. You know, and when Napoli see us spending 100+ million on Antony, they're going to think, oh, yeah, there's a good opportunity to get some money for Osimhen here, isn't there? They're going to see if they can mug us off as well. But yeah, what do you think about Erik ten Hag didn't go for Neves? I don't think Neves is an Erik ten Hag player. A lot of people saying, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't go for Neves and that. I really don't think Neves is an Erik ten Hag player. He's very similar to Bruno. They do pass and give the ball away a lot. And personally, myself, I understand. I think when we were linked to Rabiot, I thought you might as well go for Neves because Rabiot's not a ten Hag player. I could understand we went for De Jong, but you know, I think that Neves could have been a decent signing, but I think Wolves would have made us overpay a lot, and I don't think he is 100% suited to ten Hag football as well. We signed a right wing worth 175 million in Sancho and Antony. That is crazy, isn't it? Crazy. And how are you doing, everybody? Alice, this is my first time catching you live, and I'm a United fan from the USA. Always remember, things get worse before they get better. Thank you very much for joining the live stream. You're absolutely spot on with that as well. Osherman is very good pressing play. He'd be perfect for 10 system. I'd say this. My dream signing would be Osherman and De Jong. If I could bring in any two signings, which will not happen, it would be Osherman and De Jong. Because I think you add Osherman and you add De Jong to this, what we have, and we'd be brilliant. Because Osherman and De Jong are made for 10 football. And I think next summer, I think we should get Dest in, so we've got that right back sorted. And I think next summer we get Osherman as the long-term Ronaldo replacement. We get De Jong in for the midfield, and we get someone like Raya or Sanchez to give De Gea real competition. Okay, I think you add Osherman, you add De Jong, and you add a top possession playing goalie to that squad, and then you work on the depth, and it'll be a 6 squad because Osherman is made for 10 football. He's a pressing monster. He would, and I say this now, and I haven't watched him play loads, but I've watched him play enough times to go, he is a 10 player, and he would absolutely thrive in 10 football. He'd be an absolutely fantastic signing as well. Napoli want to swap deal for Osherman and Ronaldo, but want to pay Ronaldo's wages for this. I know, they want us to pay Ronaldo's wages and give 100 million. It is absolutely crazy as well. What do you think about Tielemans and that box-to-box from Celtic? Tielemans seems Arsenal-bound. I think Tielemans would be an okay signing for United. I think the box-to-box signing from Celtic could be a really good value for money transfer, but it's gone very quiet. I think it's someone we could be linked with in January/next summer as well. And Alice, don't forget to check out, I will check out our video afterwards as well about the Glazers as well. And as Noah says, please do hit that like button and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Osherman and De Jong next summer, if we qualify for the UCL, definitely possible as well. Definitely. I mean, honestly, let's go and do a lineup. So we have obviously Ten Hag will play like a 4-2-3-1, and he'll obviously play one more advanced here. But obviously, I think Ten Hag's kind of planned lineup will be Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. I think it will be Antony. It's been reported, there was a big report that came out saying Antony will be a guaranteed starter, and Sancho, Martial, Rashford will have to find out. I think it could, depending on the game. I think for big games we could see Rashford for the counter, but I think for small games and we need to break down teams, it will be Sancho. And I think Ten Hag's ideal lineup is this, guys. So we've got Delo here. Obviously, Ten Hag's kind of already established his best back four. You've got Malacia in here. You've got Martinez as the left-sided centre-back. And you've obviously got Varane. And you've got David De Gea here. So this is Ten Hag's first choice lineup. Antony is apparently guaranteed to be a starter when it comes to United. And Antony reportedly won't be involved versus Leicester, but is very likely to be involved versus Arsenal, which would be brilliant as well. But this is Ten Hag's first choice lineup. This is Ten Hag's, I'd say, strongest lineup. Now, next summer, and I'm not going to change it, if next summer you were to add Osimhen here, Osimhen, why am I saying his name wrong? If you were to add that, and then you were to add De Jong, obviously De Jong and Osimhen I would put ahead of Martial and Eriksen, but for the sake of this video, because they're not here, and you were to add a backup right back just for depth, and then, potentially another winger, I think that's a very good team. And then you potentially bring in someone like Sanchez. If we get Dest this summer, and, Ten Hag seems to do well, if we get Dest or a backup right back this summer, and Ten Hag seems to do well, I'd be saying next summer we should go all out for Osherman, that Ronaldo replacement. We should be going all out for De Jong to get that balance and profile in midfield. And then we should be looking at giving De Gea some real competition if he cannot adapt to 10 possession football. And then I'd see Man United in a real good position, real good position as well. What happened to Matt O'Reilly at Celtic? United is scouting at him, but I don't think they're going to make an imminent move just yet because they don't want to spend any more money. I think he's someone that we could be linked with come January, come next summer. I think there's definitely a good player in there as well. But we are scouting him as well. We will be getting screwed in that Osherman deal 100%. The only way the Osherman deal happens is if he goes on loan. Napoli spent a lot of money on Osherman, and it won't happen unless he goes on loan at all as well. I think Martial would smash it. Honestly, I hope Martial is fit so much. After doing a medical a few hours ago, the doctor says they found a rare disease in Antony's body called world class. And Sancho is my guy, but if we can improve the team of Antony, so be it. 100%. And what Antony brings, and a lot of people haven't spoken about this, is Antony gets the best out of the team because he brings competition all around. You know, when you bring in Antony, you've got Sancho and Rashford fighting out for that space. You've got depth. You don't have to rely on Alanga, who's not ready, but you've got Sancho and you've got Rashford all battling out for that spot at Manchester United, all going, oh shit, my spot isn't safe. And that brings competition, which gets the best out of Sancho, best out of Rashford. And Antony will bring so many little things to United that just by having him in the squad, you know, look at Maguire. This is what I said. Malacia's come in, Luke Shaw's on the bench. That would have never happened a year ago because Tellers is shite and all he loved Luke Shaw. Martinez has come in, Maguire's on the bench for 2 games. Eriksen's come in. We haven't seen McFred since the first game. We haven't seen. What I'm saying is we've only had 1 game with McFred. We've played the last 3 games. No Maguire, no McFred, no Luke Shaw. Antony comes in and it changes that attack to, oh, Rashford, if you're not good enough, you're on the bench. So, and it just means that, like, these signings Ten Hag make has impact because now Luke Shaw's got to do better. Now Maguire's got to do better. Now it seems that Ten Hag's over McFred already. Casemiro's in. A lot of the problems are already being temporarily solved by Ten Hag. And bringing Antony in, you know, it means we're less reliant on someone like Alanga, who I like Alanga, but he isn't personally ready, in my opinion. It's a lot less pressure on someone like Alanga. You've got 1 more player on the bench. I think, you know, 3 spots, you need 5 to 6 attackers that are good enough. I still think we could even be 1 short. You know, it just brings in a bit of everything. But you've also got an out-and-out right winger. Martinez came in, and that left-sided centre-back spot is Martinez's for good. It's only Martinez. Only Martinez is the left-sided centre-back. With Antony, he's the right winger. Sancho, Rashford, you've got to get that spot. You've got to fight it out. That will bring the best out of Sancho. That'll bring the best out of Rashford. Will we get Timber next year? I think if Timber has a good season with Ajax and a good World Cup, we'll definitely be in for him. Any updates about a midfielder and Dest? Man United wanted a midfielder, but because of Antony's price, it's unlikely to happen. Dest is really dependent on if Wan-Bissaka leaves. We will find out tomorrow. Osherman's a good target, but very unlikely as well. And all of a sudden, we have personalities in the team. I mean, Casemiro, Varane, and Martinez, that core, I'll say this now. Move this here. This kind of core here, this core 3, Casemiro, and Martinez, Varane, just brings that much kind of needed personnel to the club, doesn't it? Personality, as you said. Martial going to have an absolute fire season. Hopefully, if he can stay fit. I love Martial, but you can't stay fit. We need to let Barca keep their problem, waste time on Dest. Look, the thing with Dest is easy to do because Barcelona want to get rid of, but the feeling of doing business at Barcelona after how they've treated everyone this summer just annoys me. Will Ronaldo play in the Europa League, says Dennis? Yeah, I think he will do. And Iqbal set to stay and train with the first team. Yeah, Ten Hag's taken a strong liking to Sudan Iqbal, who could also be involved in the Europa League as well. Rashford up front with Alanga and Sancho. Antony's second half, 80th minute. I don't think Antony will be involved versus Leicester as well. Guys, make sure you smash that like button and, of course, subscribe down below if you're new. We're so close to 50,000 subscribers. By the way, guys, we're on 49,235 subscribers. So we are literally 765 subscribers away from 50k. So if you are new and you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. It's completely free. I go live every single evening, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, updates, transfers, and more. So please do subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And of course, share the video as well. I am going to wrap up the live stream in a minute as well. But Martial is going to be injured again for about 20 more games. I can't see him scoring more than 10 goals. That's the annoying thing. I like Martial. He's capable of scoring 20 goals. And he's capable of scoring more than 10 goals. But, you know, you just don't know what Martial's going to turn up this season as well. But thank you everybody for tuning into today's live stream. Please do smash that like button and of course subscribe down below if you're new and share the video. I am going to end the live stream here. If any breaking news comes out about transfers, I will be live to let you guys know. So if we sign anyone or we sell anyone, I think we probably will, I will be giving you updates. Obviously, deadline day tomorrow, I'll be doing lots of updates on that. Thursday, United versus Leicester, we'll be doing a coverage and a watch-along for that. Sunday, United versus Arsenal, again, we'll be doing some coverage and a watch-along for that. So make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe down below if you're new. Share the video. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Lots to come. We'll see you next time, and bye.